If the creatures from Bird Box started appearing in the news, causing mass suicides globally, what would you do? What could you do? In this video on Nerd Explains, I'll tell you how to survive Bird Box. Before we start, I have to laugh at the news stations for live broadcasting the demon that causes you to kill yourself if you see it. And to be fair, the news would definitely do something like that.
Inability to connect to what?
Can you move?
Mallory,
I need you to move.
we've been through this. That's not how it's going to be for you.
Can't raise a kid here. Where would you even put her?
And I never slept well before this condition.
It's called pregnancy. It's okay to say it out loud.
Oh, don't you know, doctor, that if you just don't acknowledge a thing, it simply goes away.
Oh, really? All this time I had no idea.
Good God, I think suicide is a mercy killing for Sandra, having to be surrounded by these nosy-ass know-it-alls. Sandra did most things correctly given her situation, and I have to applaud a horror movie where people actually make reasonably correct decisions based on their circumstances, and they survive not just through sheer luck like Brad Pitt in World War Z. It just so happens that even with Sandra's good decision-making and survival instincts, she barely makes it to the sanctuary. And that sanctuary is not a safe place by a long shot. Watch the Film Herald's video to see why. We can't honestly say we'd have made better decisions, which would have led to better outcomes. I know for a fact I'd have done what Greg did and used the security cameras. Just pixels and heat, very logical decision, and we know how that ended up. I do think the characters navigated their surroundings a bit too well though. I mean, you go get in a car and see how far down the road you get using just the GPS system. I mean, don't actually do that, but the point is, even Ricky Bobby couldn't do it.
It's just dumb. I can't see a thing.
You gotta feel the road. You gotta let it live inside you.
I feel like the car could drive itself.
I bet it could.
And those roads didn't have bodies, planes, cars, and debris. Let's just go ahead and run through the reasons why you would not survive Bird Box if it occurred to you. You'd probably be one of the initial people that just sees the demon before you have forewarning of what's going on. Shit, like in World War Z, you'd probably get killed in a car accident before you even knew there was an apocalypse going on. If you made it long enough to realize that looking at the demon is suicide, well, congrats, but you're still screwed. The demons aren't really a threat if you're blindfolded, so the biggest reason why you won't survive is that finding and cooking non-perished food in clean water is extremely difficult. And not only is sight restricted, but you can't make any noise or throw food on the grill either, as thousands of psychos are patrolling the cities searching for you, and they can use sight and all their other senses to find you. They will probably watch grocery stores and areas where clean water is available as well. So Bird Box effectively has all of the dangers of the movie A Quiet Place too, including badly timed pregnancies. The demons don't seem to require sustenance. They are everywhere, they are many, and they invaded the entire globe in hours. This is similar to The Happening, except the plants are invisible moving entities that kill via visual stimuli that causes psychological damage. So if you were thrust into that situation, you'd be pretty much dead. Instead, let's tackle this from the perspective of a research scientist stationed at Area 51. Before we do though, consider subscribing to the channel so you can know how to survive all kinds of situations like this. Lucky you. You're in an underground military installation in the middle of a desert. You have all the tech, food, water, and security you need so you can focus on figuring out how to beat the Bird Box apocalypse. Let's also say that you are aware you can't look at cameras, videos, or any visual representation of the demon because your coworker did and committed suicide. Again, lucky you. You need to get more info on these demons, but how? You can't even see them. I'm going to take a shot in the dark and say that Area 51 has NSA access. Tune into the radio signals and read. Emphasis on read. The news reports, social media posts, phone calls, phone activity, location data, everything. You can analyze all of the global data and determine a lot of the aspects of the demon. And considering the demons are global and everywhere, you can still go outside and physically test various hypotheses. What else did you find out about the demon? They have strong abilities that enable them to cause mass suicides of their prey, which sounds supernatural, but Jim Jones and many other cult leaders have led mass suicides throughout history. Some forms of hypnosis and Zoolander-esque mind control could be at play. Seriously, there are conspiracy theories that governments use electromagnetic radiation to transmit sounds and thoughts into people's heads and control them. They occupy physical space, as they cast shadows, move vegetation, and set off proximity alarms on cars. They are quite large considering the trees that they move. They are invisible, yet this may just be because of how they manipulate our perception of them. They don't enter buildings or homes. They show signs of animal-level intelligence with psychic powers, probably why they can't open doors or enter homes. The demons also know intimate things about you, like past loved ones, though this is actually probably a byproduct of the psychological distress caused by the demon. The believers sound like Joe Rogan trying to get you to try DMT.
If you do it, you will talk to intelligent beings from other dimensions, for real. Literally like having a meeting with God. It's like having a meeting with divine, unbelievably wise, incredibly loving energy. Like whatever it is, the source of everything. And
I've seen one. I've seen the truth. Take your blindfold off. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. Take your blindfold off.
Except Bird Box DMT causes you to commit suicide. It's also similar to WWZ, where being ill protects you from being a healthy host for the infection. The same applies to Bird Box, except psychologically. Birds have a unique immunity, hence the title of the movie, where other animals do not. But why? What is it about birds? Well, they have very distinct differences in sight. They can see ultraviolet light and magnetic fields. They have a much higher frames per second that enables them to track rapid movements that would be a blur to us, and they can detect extremely slow movements that are imperceptible to the human eye.
I've mastered the ability of standing so incredibly still that I've become invisible to the eye.
So how does this all help us? It's possible that the demons are imperceptible in visible light, but not in UV light where the birds can see them. So you could use UV sensors to see the demons and other horrors amongst your living spaces. But items under UV light still retain their form, so you'd still see the imagery that causes you to commit suicide. Also, dogs can see UV light, and there's a peculiar lack of stray dogs. I also looked at the intelligence and types of intelligence, looking for clues as to why birds survived, thinking that they are too stupid to comprehend the demon's imagery. But again, dogs don't survive this, so I have no clue why. If you have a theory, share it in the comments, please. It seems low fidelity vision works, as long as faces or complete pictures don't form. So we could craft an augmented reality headset that shows only rudimentary echolocation or thermal imaging, which may work depending on if the demons give off heat signatures. If you have some dogs or animals around, you could put the headset goggles on them and send them outside to greet the creatures. I feel evil for suggesting this, but it could be the difference in humanity surviving or perishing, so yeah. Once you find the specific wavelength range that the demon is visible in by trial and error, again, sorry doggos, then you can occlude that wavelength from being visible in your headset. This way, we can see the entity by way of blackouts in the headset. No picture or imagery would be able to form, as the entity's wavelength is blocked out before it can reach your eye. Now that sight is restored, you leveled the playing field. You can broadcast this to the rest of the survivors in the world and try to begin clearing out areas of psychos.
It's from the Americans. They want to organize a counter-offensive. It's about bloody time. What do they plan to do?
Airdropping headsets, re-establishing supply lines of food and water, etc. Once survival is sustainable, we can locate and test ways to kill the demons. We simply don't have much information on them right now to say what could kill them for sure. If they are unkillable somehow, well, everybody would be transitioning to having a brain-machine interface headset in the future anyways, so society probably won't look too much different. Do you agree with augmented reality headsets being the solution, or at least a giant step towards killing these entities? Let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching.